Hello everyone. There was supposed to be a long and merciless introduction about how everything has changed, along with discussions of all sorts of nonsense you have already heard. But that is not going to happen. So what will happen? What will happen is what has actually changed, with numbers and pictures, about leveling glyphs up to 150, comparing weapon stats, and a million details. Time codes are at your service. New off is with you. Let's go. The season launch date is April 27th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Here is a map of Blizzard's making. The season launches together with the expansion. There will be no specific theme for Season 13. You will understand why later, because you will go crazy trying to figure out all the changes in detail. The map. The map now overlays on top of the main image. You can use it as an alternative to the minimap, or you can leave everything as is, meaning leave the minimap in place, or you can replace it. Transparency, color, and scale are customizable. Here I will also mention what is, in my opinion, a completely useless pathfinding function. Why they made it is unclear, but let it be. The stated reason is so you don't have to look at the minimap. Runes. Rarely used runes have been removed, and now they all fit into the inventory tab. Also, in the cube, we can craft not a random rune, but the specific rune we need. Very cool. Difficulty. This was done just for the sake of a checkbox. Who in their right mind needs 12 tiers? Some people even write in the comments to smooth out the jumps when increasing the world difficulty. Come on. To remove the jumps, it would be enough to make Tier 7 the maximum. The goal is different, namely to stretch out the time spent in the game. But I will say right away, nothing will work. If a particular player spent 30 hours of gameplay to reach the maximum Torment 4, they will not spend 50 hours to reach Torment 12. Helping the developers with this are glyphs. You can increase the time spent in the game by increasing the level of glyphs. Although personally, leveling glyphs not to 100, which anyone can do, but to 150 appeals to me. But let us turn to the progenitor. In Diablo 3, when I started playing, the ordinary level of gems, which are glyphs in Diablo 4, was around 105. For those playing the second or third season, 115 was okay. Even after playing Diablo 3 for about 3,000 hours, I did not have level 150 gems. No one did. And when the first person on the server leveled a gem to 150, it was an epical event. Why? Because to get it, you had to run tier 134 rifts in a party for months to level the gem to 150 with a 1% chance. And only about a year later, level 150 was already available to those playing their first or second season. How will it be here? Will level 150 glyphs be a real value, or will they immediately become a farce? I am betting on a farce. Idea, comments, and opinions on any game-related matter are welcome. So, Maximum Torment 12. A level 100 pit must be completed for it. And what about the recently resuscitated capstones? Did they have their fun and then throw them back into the stash? I recently mentioned bipolar disorder in some video, I think. Or do I mention it in every one? I don't remember. Dementia, apparently. Torment 12 characteristics. 300% gold and 1,400% experience. On tier 4, it was 600% experience and 600% gold. Regarding the Paragon board, silence. Uber bosses. They announced that now each Uber boss has its own pool of unique items, as if it wasn't like that before. To open the chests, you no longer need many different types of keys, just one universal key for the lesser Ubers and another universal key for the greater Ubers. Nothing was said about a key for Belial. The company of Ubers has expanded. Now Bartuk and Astaroth are also Ubers. Zir is no longer in a sublocation, but like all the others, one click away from the surface. According to the developers, the key rework was done to free up space. Then why did they breed a bunch of other crap? The pit. Now the pit will have 5 floors, and once again, as before every previous season, we were told about the removal of dead ends and backtracking. Do we believe it? I do not. 5 floors is super. The removal of backtracking, I do not believe it. Some improvements from the tower have been moved to the pit. What improvements these are has not been announced. Now the pit has more location types, penalties for death, and hidden boss attacks have been removed. Well then, now everything is easier and more casual. I don't know if this is bad or good. Goblins, both single ones and entire broods, can now appear in the pit. Bosses can set up ambushes as you progress pit. Bosses have been weakened, and their list has been expanded with bosses from the tower. The cube. The first recipe adds a random affix to an item. The second recipe changes a random affix to an affix from a different category. This recipe changes a specific affix to an affix from the same category. Another recipe removes a random affix from an item. The transfigure recipe adds a random modifier and has a very high chance of making the item unchangeable. This means that bases for top-tier items will be needed on an industrial scale. Getting the desired stat while keeping the item suitable for the next enhancement is something you will have to work hard for. And the item being modified is needed for another process through the entropy prism, which has a 100% chance to make the item unchangeable while adding some property. Using this prism, all we get is a guarantee that the property that appears will guarantee to enhance the item. That is, not replace an existing one as before, but add an enhancement. This is nothing other than a greeting from the mechanics of Season 11 with Sanctification. Whether this is good or bad will be seen after the start of the season, based on the range of the properties themselves and their diversity. In Season 11, it was a curse. You could get a strong buff, or you could get a pittance, or even completely ruin the item because sometimes a useful property was replaced with trash. As we can see in the picture, this prism will add a property of this type and make the item unchangeable and account bound. That is, just like in the Season 11, if Sanctification fails, the item becomes a useless brick. A separate recipe has also been made specifically for amulets and only for amulets. On amulets, we will be able to add an additional aspect as many times as we want. That is, we can try to get the additional aspect we need as long as we have the resources for it. It looks amazing. There is also a recipe that allows us to extract an aspect from a unique amulet and turn it into a charm. A detailed overview of all the cube recipes will be later, when the season starts and everything is clear and personally tested. The war plan, a choice of upgrade paths, has appeared. It's not that I believe that this choice actually decides anything, but the illusion of choice is better than its absence. The war plan itself is nothing more than a preset route through activities. All activities do not require sigils or keys, and completing tasks gives you points. We spend points on leveling up these activities, after which we get more rewards from them. The war plan is not suitable for a party because for each player, each chosen location is generated randomly. That is, when playing in a party, you only get loot and XP but not progress for this activity. Progress in the war plan is only received by the party leader who starts the activity. The skill tree. As we can see, all passive skills have been removed, leaving only active ones, which we can now level up to level 15. And conversion of the skill's default element damage into another element has been added to each skill. The mechanic is not new and is already well tested in other games. Everyone knows which ones. And finally, the simple but noticeably build-expanding action has reached Diablo 4. It may seem that I am being foolish, but no, it just seems that way to you, because there is nothing wrong with borrowing some solutions. This will clearly diversify the gameplay, which means it is good, but don't get your hopes up too high. The meta that existed before will remain, and we will not get several builds that are at the same time close in efficiency and convenience. Or maybe I am wrong, and now the game will see not only a variety of builds from Path of Exile 2, but also a variety of competitive setups. I think this will not happen. What do you think? Oh yes, no specifics were given about the skill tree whatsoever. That is, except for the Warlock, whose skill tree has been known for a long time, skill trees for other classes are still not available. This is a benchmark example of squeaky clean marketing and the priority of honor and conscience over the thirst for profit. And you say that I don't like Blizzard. How can one be normal about what is, frankly, a blatant lack of ethics? 3 days before the season, and there is no skill tree. The Blizzard folks went overboard here. Oh, how they went overboard. Items. The maximum level is now 900. For comparison, I made several screenshots before and after the changes. On the left is new, on the right is old. The grandfather. The life here has been inflated, if you please. The base damage is increased several times over. 3 stats remain unchanged, but the aspect has also been inflated. Perdition is now stronger due to the aspect, but has less critical strike chance. Many other items have been changed in the same way. New items modified in the cube look like this. Sanctification is discussed in the time code about the cube. Damage multipliers on weapons are multiplicative, but they add together with each other rather than each working separately. For the Barbarian, this is most important because he is the only one with 4 weapons. You can also see flat damage as a separate stat. This is also a new feature and potentially the most valuable stat on a weapon. New unique items will be more flexible by reducing the number of mandatory fixed stats. That is, the stats on unique items can be changed in the cube. Which stats these are is not specified, but we can get an approximate picture. There is also great variability here. A conditionally new mythic item has appeared. Conditionally new because only the name is new here, while the item itself is Ingium from Diablo 3. This item was present in almost all farming builds in Diablo 3 because after killing any pack. It doesn't matter if it's a blue pack of several monsters or a yellow one. Then for 12 seconds after killing it, you had near zero cooldown on all skills. This happened because your cooldown on all skills was reduced by 10 seconds during those 12 seconds. This allowed you to quickly reach the next pack and manage to kill it. This is an excellent item that solves the issue of cooldown reduction and very fast movement for all classes. But in Diablo 3, everyone universally uses Turbo HUD, which shows elites on the map exactly the same way Blizzard did in the tower. What will they do? Will they expand this feature to all activities, or will they wait for the total use of Turbo HUD here too? All that is needed is, on the minimap, mark blue packs with blue dots, as many dots as there are monsters in the pack, and elite packs with yellow dots. But it is important to highlight minions as well. The problem was specifically with minions. They are indistinguishable from other monsters, and until you kill all of them, Ingium will not activate. But here I will remind you about the sore point again. Will they remove the sorceress's minimal, manually set, and in no way reducible teleport cooldown? Charms. To unlock all 6 slots, you need to insert a legendary sigil into the center. A yellow sigil will unlock 4 slots, a legendary one will unlock 5 or 6, a blue one will unlock 3 slots, but that is not relevant as we will get a yellow one quickly. So we have 6 slots. You can use a set of 5 charms, 2 sets of 3 charms, or 3 sets of 2 charms. The charm itself gives a bonus, which we see at the top. 2 charms from a set give the first bonus. And a full set, in our case 3 charms, gives all the bonuses. The bonuses for the charm itself, for 2 and for 3 items, are cumulative. And then there are sigils like this one, which in addition to unlocking all 6 slots, also have a bonus of -1 charm from each set. That is, we insert 2 charms from each 3 charm set and get the full bonus from them. You can get the full bonus from 3 sets by inserting not 9 charms, but 6. Or 4 charms from a 5 charm set and 2 from a 3 charm set and have the bonuses as from full sets. But besides set charms, there are also unique ones. They work individually but give us a unique aspect from their original unique item. This is really powerful. That is, in theory, we could take 6 such unique charms for ourselves and get 6 additional aspects. Something looks a bit too bold. I think we will be able to use no more than 1 of them. While leveling up to Torment 1, sets will drop with enhanced general stats. After Torment 1, they will drop with bonuses to skills and specializations of the class you are playing. All these bonuses further enhance the character and were made as an answer to fans of sets from Diablo 3. The idea is excellent, but it worries me somewhat that this additional mechanism potentially exponentially increases the likelihood of errors occurring. Fishing, an activity personally unclear to me, made just for the sake of a checkbox. However, achievements will be given for the fish species caught, and since there are plenty of achievement collectors, it won't remain empty. You will be able to fish in any body of water, even in lava. The caught fish is placed in the inventory with the potions, so there wasn't an excess of space there, and now there will be even less. You can catch not only fish, but also some kind of magazine and trash too. Where would we be without trash? Loot filter. It is turned on in the settings. After this, the filter will be available in the game menu. Why turn it on or off in the settings? You can simply ignore it in the main menu, which you scroll through once per session. A useless function, but the fact that import and export functions are available right from release is excellent. You don't need to figure out all the nuances yourself. Just take a ready-made general or class-specific loot filter. They showed us a piece of the settings amidst excited chatter. I fully share the excitement. And I said earlier that I forgive Blizzard for a lot because of the introduction of this wonderful function. But there is a small however, remembering how everyone was excited about the loot filter in last epoch, and it couldn't do simple things. For example, on an item I need 1 property of tier 7 and the second from, say, 5 others tier 6. The other stats don't matter. So the last epoch filter did not allow this in principle. I don't know how it is now. I haven't played that game in a long time, but it was exactly like that. And to get an item with tier 7 and 6 of the required stats, you had to look at all items with a tier 7 stat. Apparently something similar to what was described above will not be possible here either. But I am complaining in advance, just in case. However, if such things become available, it will be a reason to praise the developers. Although I praise them anyway, well, within the limits of my humble abilities. Inventory. In the tab with boss keys, some unknown crap has appeared in unprecedented quantities, and this unambiguously hints to us the lack of stash tabs, and now also inventory space, is some kind of manic blizzard feature. You must suffer, here and now, dreaming of an abundance of storage space, but not now and not in this game. We must all mature. Mature for what? At least to buy a pack of 5 stash tabs for the price of the game. Why not? 1,000 in a stack? A lot of stacks? But there is a special compartment in the storage that doesn't take up space. Or is this such a perverted bait? We'll show you a bunch of junk, wait for outrage from the community, and then, under the guise of having heard you, remove it all? Can't you just remove it right away or make the amount of materials involved in crafting reasonable? After all, they managed to reduce the consumption and drop rate of obdusite by 10 times. Can't you do everything reasonably right away here too? Echo of Hatred. I talked about it in the previous video. It is nothing more than a transfer of the survival activity from Diablo 3. You survive as long as you can, fighting off waves of enemies, and upon completion you receive a reward. Seasonal Journey. Now there are 9 chapters in the Seasonal Journey. Through it we get 12 skill points, 42 Paragon points, up to 14 sparks for crafting mythics, plus cosmetic rewards, as well as crafting materials, currency, keys, runes, and so on. Cosmetic items will also be available through the paid and free reliquary. The Tower and the Leaderboard. Now the Tower will be updated on Thursdays, a few days after the release of each patch or the start of the season. Time is needed to fix errors and adapt. New locations, monsters, and bosses have been added to the Tower. The system for awarding points for destroying monsters in the Tower has been significantly improved and should now better match the overall difficulty of each enemy. That's me quoting the developers, by the way. I don't really believe in such talk myself. The effect will still be unnoticeable from such reworks, so you can say anything. Also, in the Tower, they now give rewards for achieving personal goals and increasing your seasonal rank. That is, they attach chests with rewards here too. And most importantly, the player's equipment will now be fixed at the moment of completing the run. Hiding your profile is now useless. Anyone who wants to will be shown the gear, glyphs, paragon boards, and charms at the time of tower completion. Tempering. The list of affixes for tempering is still a chaos. There is still no alphabetical sorting, no search field. Good job, guys. But now we can temper unique and mythic items. Truly, people do not know moderation. They pile on using the principle of the more the better, and they forgot that too much is even worse than too little. But this is quite in their spirit, not knowing moderation, that is. They claim that over 100 legendary aspects have been adjusted for overall balance. Stones. The stones have been reworked. Now you will have to get used to them again. But that's not a problem. We'll get used to it. I'll show you the list with a screenshot, and I'll put a link to all the original materials in the description. Twitch drops. From the start of the season on April 27th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Pacific Time until May 5th, for 2 hours of watching any streamer in the Diablo 4 category on Twitch, you will receive an emblem like this. From May 5th to May 11th, an emblem like this will be given out, but for support in the form of a paid subscription to any streamer in the Diablo 4 category. And from May 11th to May 18th, again for 2 hours of viewing, they will give an axe like this. Also, starting April 28th, Overwatch crossover skins will be available in the shop, keeping you informed. You will want to thank Blizzard for the lack of specifics and the skill tree, right? What do I think about all this? I think it all looks not bad. There are obviously doomed to fail ideas, for example, with sanctification. This was criticized by everyone who could, including me, for its massive randomization. They promised that I would be excited, but judging by the number of butthurt people in Season 11, I was not the only one who wasn't excited, and it's understandable. Farming an item for an unknown amount of time and then turning it into trash with one click is not the kind of thing that makes people excited. By the way, I crafted about 100 items per day, approximately, and that went on for a month or even more. And what was the result? In the end, I barely climbed to 24th place on a sorceress I know very well, having played 350 hours and completely burned out from the dubious pleasure of ruining items with sanctification. And what about the top players? The top players played a little more, just a little bit. 700 hours, 800, and even one player with 960 hours. Sorry, I am not capable of that. I am sure you aren't either. So, if the randomizer with a wide range is present now, they will have to tone it down. Glyphs to 150 is a direct statement. This is now a party game. Higher pits are cleared in a party, and accordingly, glyphs can be leveled faster and higher than solo. Whether this is good or bad depends on the person. All the changes to items, stats, aspects, and their quantity directly tell us, beware, we ourselves do not understand what we are doing, but it looks very cool. I completely agree. Everything together looks not just cool, it looks insurmountable for calibration and correct debugging of all parts of the new mechanics. I can clearly see the programmers and testers sitting in shock, and the effective managers who don't give a damn about it all. They write press releases and calculate revenue. All of this, all these changes in total, look as grandiose as they are unrealistic, but no one cares. The main thing is to create hype, to stun everyone with the scale, which has undoubtedly succeeded, and then we'll figure something out. Casual players won't notice the broken things, pocket bloggers will gently scold them, but it doesn't affect profits anyway. In the current unupdated version, a ton of stuff is falling apart, and now it's just the end for everyone. And no day one patch will help here, not unless they fix something daily and turn this or that off. However, I want to be wrong very much. But since I want not PR, but a genuinely working game and I know where to look, I am most likely not wrong. Time will tell. That is all for today. If you liked it, hit like. If you didn't, hit dislike, but do something. In the community tab, there is a poll about my manner of presentation. Please click something there. Thank you for watching and for the like, and Sue, bye.